In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys a stack of books that I won in an online estate sale. I think there's some good stuff in here. There's some fun stuff. And also, if you notice from the bindings, it's not all comic books. So stick around. I want to go through this stuff and talk a little bit about why I picked them up and why I'm so excited about this stack of books, comic books. So stick around for the video and I mean, I guess if you got this far, you're going to stick around for the video, but whatever. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. I mean, you do you, boo. All right, welcome to the latest edition of Swarm of Comics. I am Randy, your handsome and humble host. Is that catchphrase getting tired yet? Do I need to change that up? It's been 25 videos. Might be time to come up with something better than that. Maybe for the next videos I've got coming up that I'm going to record this weekend. Although if you're watching this in the future, this weekend won't mean anything to you. But I'm doing a quick video. And what I'm going to be featuring is a stack of books that I won in an online estate sale. There happens to be a little company that does one about 15 minutes from my house. So they put this auction up online, and it was a mix of stuff. I bought stuff from them before. I think it was long before I was doing these videos. And, it's a pretty good, weird mix of stuff. I bid on quite a few items in the auction. And the way that this particular auction works is you put in your highest bid, and that's what you bid. So some auction sites, the opening bid is, say, $5. And you bid $25. Like, that's your max. But your bid is still only $5. It just knows that if anybody puts in bids after you, you'll be the winner until somebody else bids more than $25. This particular auction, I don't like the way it goes, but the way it works is that if you bid $25, that's your bid. It's now $25. So that's kind of one of the downsides of this. But the upside is that it's super easy for me to get the books. I just drive down the street 15 minutes away and get them. In theory, I could go look at the books beforehand by appointment, and I maybe should have done that, but it's not that big of a deal that I didn't, but it is a good option to have. So I bid on a whole bunch of books, and over the course of like the 2 weeks that the auction was active, I would get a notification, you've been outbid. And for the most of them, I had bid my top level. That was it. If somebody outbid me, I didn't care. It was 2 books that I pushed back and I won them. I did win the auctions, but I had to go a little higher than my original highest bid. But I think they're worth it, especially now that I have them, and we'll go over all that. So it was an estate sale. It wasn't a comic auction. This guy, actually, his auction right now is he's selling ammo and guns that he's auctioning off for somebody's estate. So there are some pretty good deals to be had, and there's so many people out there trying to get these. It's hard to find steals and good deals. And but I think I got a couple of good ones out of this. So I'm going to start with a couple of the books and talk about them a little bit. Now, this first one here is definitely one that I don't think I overpaid for, but I don't think I knew what a piece of crap it was. There was just a scanned photo, and that was about it. And I told you I didn't go down and look at it, but I probably should have. Also, first of all, do you love this shirt? I will include a link to this shirt if you are interested in picking this up in the description of this video down below. So anyway, first comic I bought, I was definitely disappointed once I opened it up and saw the condition of this. I would say this is probably a 4. I was hoping it would be at least a 6. Not that big of a deal, but the book is Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, number 90. Now, the reason this is key is this came out the same month as the other key books where Spider-Man was in the new black outfit back in 1984. 4. So if you're a comic book fan, or if you're not, I'll tell you now. Amazing Spider-Man 252, Spider-Man's main book and original book. He's right on the cover with that outfit, and that was his first appearance. But that same month, another book that featured Spider-Man called Marvel Team Up, issue 141. I'm old, no, don't remember stuff. Issue 141 came out. That's sort of half considered also first appearance. But this is a forgotten about book. This is also the first appearance. He's not on the cover in it, although it is right here, but he is in this book. So this has a hole right here and a tear on the back and this terrible bag. I don't know if you can hear the microphone. No back or board, spine ticks. I mean, if this is a 4, I'd be lucky. But I think I only paid $15 for it, and it's still probably worth $40. But it's not worth slabbing. So it's good that I have it, and I'll put it in a better bag and a board. But I was hoping it would be a slabbable one, at least a 6, but this is just not worth spending that money to do. But it is still a pretty cool book. So for you comic book fans out there who didn't know that, you learned a little bit something. You learned a little bit something. Yeah, my English good. All right, next batch, and I do mean batch because they are all in a bag. This is a 3-pack of Battlestar Galactica issues 1, 2, and 3 from 1978. I think it's 78. 78. I think it's 1978. So these, you can still get these today. I think people buy them at like Five Below, and you can get books, 3-packs of them, maybe Walmart and different places. So this was 99 cents back in 1970, whatever this was. And these books were put out by Marvel Comics. They own the rights to it, as you can see, Marvel Comics Group. But you can also see that it says Whitman, and it has this diamond shape up here, which is usually signifies that it was like a partnership with Whitman. So Whitman put these out. So what you might not be able to see it, but the UPC code here, there's no barcode, and there's no like image there indicating that it came from the direct market, like at a comic store. They're just white, blank white. These look like they're in pretty good shape, although it's hard to tell in the bag. And I don't know whether I'm going to take them out or not. It's kind of fun to have them in the bag. And they've been in this bag for so long, like it would almost feel wrong to take them out. I have issue number 1. I think I'm going to get it slabbed. I don't have 2 and 3. Oh, there's a, yeah. And these aren't expensive books, but it was fun to get it in this. I think I paid, maybe I paid $20 for it, or 25, which was $20 too much, probably, but I liked that these were Whitman variants, and I liked that they were still in the bag. I thought this was cool. So again, little bag here, you pick them up in the 3-pack. So probably saw these when you were kids, or you saw them at the store. So that was the second pickup. I think I overpaid for that a little bit. I didn't overpay for that Peter Parker number 90. I think $15 was fair. I think that's still a $30 or $40 book. So moving right along. The next things I picked up are also books that I did not go down to look at because they just weren't worth it, but they're definitely in worse condition than I could tell from the scans. Now, that's the other thing. This is not a comic book person. They're not giving you the description and the details of things. They're not giving you high close-up scans. You literally just get, one picture of the front, and if you're lucky, you get the back. And that's sort of the gamble. Doing estate sales, whether they're in person or online, they're mostly all online now. That's just the way of the world. These people come in and do cleanouts, and they put everything up for an estate sale and get as much as they can. Gone are the days, for the most part, of standing outside somebody's house and, hoping to get in. You're fifth in line and you want to get in and rush in to look at the books. Now they've got you auctioning and bidding on them. So anyway, back to these books. I definitely probably paid a little bit much, but I bought them as reader copies. I have one slabbed. You've already seen that before in other videos. And if you have not, watch those videos. And but it is, without further ado, this is going to be a big disappointment. It is Further Adventures of Indiana Jones issue 1 and 2. Don't they look nice? They're not. The spine roll on this is terrible. This is in good shape, but I think I paid $10 for the two of them. They're not even worth pressing and slabbing, but they're good reader copies, and I want to go back and read them. I know that sounds silly that I bought a book in a slab I can never read, and then I went and spent more money to buy one that I can read. But nobody ever said anything makes sense with collecting comic books. But this was a great series. I've talked about it before. You saw me wear the shirt for this in other videos, and my brother as well. This is such a fun series. I think it lasted 19 issues, 22 issues, something like that. But I grabbed these two for like $10 total. So that was the next little pickup that I did. All right, now we're getting to the nicer stuff here. This, again, this was in a weird eclectic mix of books. The next book I'm not even sure I knew existed. I'm not even sure I knew the title existed. This is The Amazing Spider-Girl, number 13. Beautiful cover. And as you see, if you look close, it's not just Spider-Girl, she is a zombie. And the artist that does this, Arthur Soydam, that's how you pronounce it, Soydam, he is famous for these covers. And it was originally famous for the limited series Marvel Zombies. Great series. Please pick that series up. And that actually originated, I think, in Ultimate Fantastic Four, the idea of the zombie universe for Marvel. So this is a variant cover. I think it says it. Yep, variant edition. And I just thought this was a beautiful cover. I also think this is in fantastic shape, and I paid $5 for it. I think this is raw. This is a $25 book. So I definitely want to get this slabbed because I think this is just a beautiful cover. I don't even know if I knew there was a Spider-Girl book, but now I do. It's got a cool Marvel Zombies cover, and I think this is in good shape. I've got to dig into it, but just looking at the front, doesn't even look like anybody's ever opened it. So very cool. Excited for that. Again, different. We go from, Battlestar Galactica in a bag to Spider-Girl zombie variant. All right, next book. A minor key, but not super expensive, but super nice. And it was in decent shape. I think this is with a little press could be good, and it might even be worth being slabbed just for fun. But this is Giant Size Werewolf number 4. This is the first battle between the Werewolf by Night and Morbius, the living vampire. So this is kind of a cool issue. I didn't pay a lot for it. Maybe I paid $20 for it. It's in pretty good shape. Maybe it's a 4 or 5 or something like that. You could use a little press. It's like a square bound edition. You can see the printing on the side. Those are harder to deal with, I think, for pressing and grading. But I don't know. Maybe I paid $10 or $20 for it or something like that. $15. It's probably worth $40. So that's a fun one there. I've talked about in other videos before getting into this sort of horror, superhero and horror in the 1970s during the Bronze Age. Marvel Comics was really at the forefront of it. So fun book. Never owned that before. Morbius the Living Vampire versus the Werewolf by Night. All right, what do we got next here? This was a good book. This was in better shape than I expected. Not worth a ton, but I think I paid $10 for it. It's got a couple of color breaking spine ticks, but otherwise it's in pretty good shape. Maybe some folds on it, but it's an old book. I think it's from 1968. This is The Invincible Iron Man, number 10. And my buddy Tom, who is the Silver Age Comics, if you look him up, I'll try and put his link down in the description, but he is on Instagram and whatnot. He does pressing for me and submits my books. Probably gives us a good press, but he always tells me anything single digit of like a Silver Age title, Golden Age title, you need to get slabbed. And this is right on the border at a 10, but I still think that might be worth doing because that does present really well. Plus Iron Man, and he's battling the Mandarin. So fun book. And again, I think I paid $10 or $15 for it. Won that in the auction. All right, this next book is probably the biggie of the whole bunch. There's more. Instead of saving the big one for the last, I'm going to do the big one now. I've collected Amazing Spider-Man for 40 years or whatever it is. I have hundreds upon hundreds of Amazing Spider-Man issues. And for some reason, I don't think I've ever owned this issue. I mean, I have Amazing Spider-Man number 5 and 6 and 9 and 14, and I've got a lot of Amazing Spider-Man books. And for some reason, I didn't have this one. And this is a good looking copy. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 100. You're definitely not going to be able to see it here, most likely, but this is a good copy. A little futzing something going on there, but not much. Yeah, I'm just looking at it kind of, there's no real spine ticks and there's no color breaking ones. So this is from like 1970, 71, something like that. And this is the 100th anniversary issue. And this is in such good condition. This is the first book of the two that I put my max bid in. I said, I'm not going over that. And then I did a little more research as it started going up and it went past it. And I bid up to an amount that I'm comfortable with, that if I get this slab, that'll be worth double what I paid for it. Again, I'm not going to sell it. And what it's worth is, you know, it's worth about nothing. It's about worth what you write down on a piece of paper. But in theory, it's nice to know that your collectibles are increasing in value or are wanted. And, you know, I always say, oh boy, you know, maybe I'll sell this book. But I never do. I haven't sold, I don't know if I've ever sold one comic book besides getting rid of bulk, you know, collection. But anyway, so this is definitely worth a slab. And never going to get a good on the camera there. But this was an excellent pickup. This was the top dog right there. You can see how beautiful those colors are for a 50-year-old book. Look at the whites. That's amazing. So, boop, boop, sorry about the focusing. But cool. Amazing Spider-Man. And also Tom, the Silver Age comic guy, Tom Anderson. He actually hates this cover. And I kind of get it, but it's John Romita and it's iconic. But, you know, for a 100th anniversary issue, I get it. Maybe it's not the most whiz-bang cover ever, but it's what we got, Tom. All right. This is the next book that I went above my bidding. I went above what I was comfortable with. And what's funny is I won it. And in retrospect, doing more research, there's so few copies of these, and it's so hard to find sales data. Maybe I should have bothered my buddy Comic Carl, who has the GP analysis. I probably shouldn't have seen that, but I looked on Heritage. I looked on a bunch of different auction sites, Heritage, eBay, and it just there's so few copies for sale. Like Heritage just has the high-end ones, and this is not high-end. This is, if I can get a 3 on this, we're gonna remember this when I get it slabbed. If we can get a 3 on it, I'll be happy. But it was hard to find sales data. But in retrospect, for what it is and what I paid, I thought I might have overpaid. I don't think so. My mom, hi mom, you know, she loves when I send her photos and she watches these videos. And I told her about this one. She was excited about it because it was something she remembered from her youth. This is an old book, by the way, if you haven't caught on. She found one that somebody had sold for like $350 or something like that in like a 2.5. I don't remember what site she found that on, but she found that. So I'm comfortable with this. But at the time, I felt like I was overbidding and I was, you know, doing the wrong thing, like caught up in the moment bidding. So here's a lesson learned. Don't get caught up in the moment. You don't need anything. And make sure whatever it is that you buy and what you bid, you can absolutely afford. So that's my lessons learned for this. Now I'm going to actually finally show you the book. It's bigger than I thought. It's more like a magazine. So I'm going to have to get it submitted with magazines, and that's okay. The spine looks dicey. I'm afraid to take it out of the Mylar, so I'm just going to send it in just like this. But it is Dick Tracy, feature book number 6. This is from 1937. This predates Superman by a year. And you can see the size. So it's a little bit bigger than a normal size comic. But that is Dick Tracy the Detective, 10 cents. Now, I love my red covers. I love the simplicity of this. I love the profile here. And this is just a gorgeous, gorgeous book. And I will tell you, because I think I usually share this stuff, I ended up paying $80 for it. I, I don't even know why I thought I was paying too much. Now, this cover might not be attached. You can see those staples, but that's okay. I can see these golden age books. This is platinum age. So we've probably gone over it. And if you're a comic fan, you know this. But if you're just joining me because you saw my handsome face and you want to watch a video, or, my auntie Karen's watching, the platinum age, we kind of consider anything pre 1938 when Superman premiered. Superman came out, Action Comics #1. That was the start of the golden age. We kind of retroactively went back also and said, hey, well, comics started before that. And this might even just be reprints of what's in the newspaper at the time. They would take all those, the 3-panel news strips and then put them all together and put them into this. So this is 1937. This is platinum age, $80. I mean, like I said, my mother found online somebody had sold one for $350. That was a 2.5. If I can get a 3.5 on this, I think I won't be complaining here. Now, of course, you can go to like Heritage Auction and find somebody selling 8s and 9s, 9.0s graded. Those go for a ton of money. But so I also love this. I think this is a beautiful book. I'm starting to build up more magazine size books. I have a Ninja Turtles. I have an Empire Strikes Back. I have that Mickey Mouse magazine for 1937. Actually came out technically 1938, same year as this, with the red cover. So hoping to have a nice display of magazine size. So this is one that I also picked up. So that is it for comic books. But as my intro video said, I didn't just buy comic books. I've also been interested for a very long time, since the 1980s when I first discovered The Shadow. It was a reboot of the series, and I think Bill Sienkiewicz was doing the art. He was certainly doing the covers. And that's where I first learned about The Shadow, when DC Comics put that back out. I think maybe it was 87. I can't remember what year it was, 85. And then, of course, I started diving more into The Shadow, and then they started, coming up with new stories. And I love that old pulp stuff. And I bought my first pulps last year. I have an issue of Weird Tales with Edgar Allan Poe and a raven on the cover. And I have a couple of Shadow pulps. They're all sort of like Reader's Digest size. I think I did another video and I featured those. So these are pulps. These are sci-fi pulps, which I've never owned before. And I got them and they're much different size than I thought they were going to be. And I got them all cheap. I'm going to say average, I got them for $30. Again, pulps their bindings fall apart, their pages chip. They were made of in the 1930s and 40s. In the 20s, they were made of the absolute worst paper on earth. This bill from my healthcare provider has better paper than what was put into a pulp novel back in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. So even when they're in rough shape, they still can be graded pretty decent. So there's also no real big guide that I know of. We have a comic pricing guides out there. We have baseball card pricing guides. There's a lot of guides for collectibles. Beanie Babies, how much are they worth? I have a whole basement full of them I've been saving, but I haven't checked. Are they worth anything yet? There's no real guide. There hasn't even been grading for pulps until CGC just started it. It's $40 per pulp, and I probably paid less than that for the actual pulp. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get things graded, but maybe just for the sake of preservation. So I'll go with the first one. And if you're a pulp fan at all, if you've ever seen these, you know that they kind of have a running theme. It's definitely sci-fi, monsters, sexy ladies. Like, it's probably a running theme here. But the nice thing is that none of these are damsels in distress in theory. They all seem to be heroines. So this is Planet Stories. What is this? It's volume 4, number 2. I don't remember. Eternal Zemed Must Die. Whatever that means. Eternal Zemed Must Die. Novel by Henry Haas. Ray Bradbury even has a story in here. These old pulps used to feature Robert E. Howard, who created Conan the Barbarian. They used to have H.P. Lovecraft, who did some writing, people remember. And different writers like Ray Bradbury. So very cool cover. Heroine here with her gun and her short shorts, ready for battle in her short shorts and low cut top, battling, trying not to get netted. So this is good. So this is really thick, and this is much bigger than I thought. I think the other ones I had were smaller, more like small digest size. So Planet Stories. All right. Next one, also Planet Stories. And she is beating down some aliens with her chain, and there's she's actually beating them with her gun, and I guess there's a chain. So Planet Stories. This is volume 5, number 4. Sargasso of Lost Starships. And actually, there's a stamp on the back here that this came from A1 Comics in Sacramento, California. And it's rated as a very good plus. So looks in pretty decent shape. Little rougher than the other one. Some creases, and you can see the top starts to all chip away and bend. That's just how almost all of them are, or all the ones that I can afford. So that was the second one. And then this third one was very cool because I watched the show when I was a kid, 1987, I think. Steven Spielberg helped put it out. And I've never actually owned an issue of it, but without further ado, it is an amazing stories. Another heroine here. Again, a big book, amazing stories. And this is volume 24, number 2. So the Galaxy Raiders. So that's actually a pretty cool cover if you can see it. The robots. It's a robot monster army, Mr. Bob Mayo. Yeah, so kind of cool to have an amazing stories. I don't know if you remember that show, but it used to be on TV back in the 1980s. And this is what it was based on, these sort of fantastical stories. So this was the last book that I picked up in that online estate sale, and I'm very happy with it. That spine is in good shape. That's good. That's what you want. And like I said, I think I paid on average $30. I think one of them was 15, one of them was 20, one of them was 35 or whatever, but I think that's what they averaged out to. I think that was worth it. So that is the end of my haul. Feel free to comment if I messed anything up, or I left out some info, or if you have some good stuff to add, or if you were digging anything in there, or if you're digging my shirt or anything like that. So we love the comments. Apparently the algorithm loves comments, likes, comments, and that's why all these YouTubers say it. They're like, comment, subscribe, and I guess I'm into it. The more people that watch this, the more fun we're gonna have. I'm having fun. Are you having fun? We're all having fun. So that's enough out of me. Again, I'm Randy at Swarm of Comics. Thank you for enjoying the video and staying this long. And until next time, have fun reading comics. And I guess pulps too.